just want to ask you, what is the importance of seeking medical treatment if you're in pain from an accident?
So, the importance of seeking medical treatment after an accident can probably be best described as some possible negative effects of not seeking medical treatment. Some of the negative effects, obviously, from the standpoint of just your overall health and your overall well being, is that there could be steps that are taken by different medical providers, whether it's physical therapists, orthopedics, um, general providers, physicians, chiropractors, etc. You name it. There could be certain things that are causing your pain, um, causing your impairment, whether that be inability to bend over, soreness, tightness, just limited range of motion. There could be something that happened in your accident that, whether it was a fall, whether it was a wreck, that is causing the pain. And until you get treated, it's pretty much just a guessing game as far as how to resolve the pain and make yourself feel better. So that's just from a practical standpoint. From from the standpoint of your case against the at fault party, whoever it may be, when a lot of times injured people will take the approach of, I'm in a little bit of pain or a lot of pain, but I got to go to work. I don't have time to run around looking for medical providers. It hurts, but I can live with it. Um, Doing activities that I could do beforehand, worry free. It's more of a burden, but I'm still able to do it. Basically, the grit your teeth and bear it approach um, is possibly not the best approach by any means for a claim or a lawsuit against the at fault party. And the reason for that is essentially on top of just feeling better, when you go to these medical providers, they take copious notes of what you tell them as far as your subjective pain, what they find as far as your limited range of motion, x rays, CT scans, MRIs, whatever the case may be. Um, and what those records are essentially contemporaneous notes from a medical provider that corroborates the pain that you're feeling. It's a medical professional stating on the record, so to speak, that you are experiencing this pain for this reason, or this diagnosis is causing this pain, whatever the case may be. So a good way to look at it is, in the absence of that, the grit your teeth and bear it approach. It's it's not necessarily the case that your pain will be disregarded, what you say your pain is, but there will be an attempt to say, okay, well, um, I understand that you're saying this hurt, but why didn't you get treated? Because it may have made you feel better. And also, we're not quite sure what areas were hurt, how bad the pain was, if there's something that you could have done to make the pain a lot, less burdensome, lighter, eliminated it entirely. So, for those two reasons, seeking medical treatment after a accident, if you need it, is incredibly important. Um, Another issue that a lot of people who are injured have is if they either aren't covered by health insurance or Medicare, Medicaid, then they are concerned that they're going out of pocket and that they won't be able to ever pay back the debts that they will rack up, because medical treatment is obviously incredibly expensive. And that's a valid concern, but it's important to keep in mind that there are certain things that you can do to try to get medical care treatment without going out of pocket. It's difficult, but there are steps that you can take to do that. And you can find these steps just by researching on Google, maybe calling around to free clinics, calling around to hospitals. If you seek the help of an attorney, get your attorney to help you out. And whatever you can do to book an appointment or get treatment, it's really important that you do, if at all possible. And if you can't, you can't. And that's just sometimes an unfortunate reality. Um, but it's important that you do that if you are at all capable. And another thing is, even for people who can afford medical care, are covered by insurance, do have the ability to either pay outright or enter some kind of payment plan that they can eventually not be crushed by medical debt. Sometimes people who are injured even have hesitancy for that because of the same kind of concern. You don't want to be followed around by debt. You're not quite sure if it'll work. And going back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago, you also don't want to take time off work. You're not sure, will they be able to help? I don't really even know what to tell them. How will they be able to find out what's wrong? Is it curable? Is it not? And all these questions and all these concerns can definitely be a deterrent to seeking medical care, but that's an impulse that it's pretty important to disregard that impulse. Basically, this just all goes to say that if you are injured and you're in pain, it's incredibly important to seek medical care if you need it. And if you don't need it, then you don't need it, and that's great. But if you do, and there are those concerns that I mentioned that prevent you from going, just keep in mind that obviously first and foremost, it's important to feel better if possible, and to trust medical providers, see what they can do for you. It's their profession; they want to help people out who are injured, who are in pain, and so that's the primary concern. Secondary concern is it really helps out to have medical records that can be evidence in your case that it's not just your word that you're feeling this pain or that this happened, this guessing what the diagnosis may be. I think it's this, it's that. You can have a medical provider actually tell you what it is, and that will really help out your case. And that's pretty much a long way of saying it's incredibly important.